Hello bookish friends, and welcome to or welcome back to my channel. My name is Lexi and today we are doing a book haul. You're probably wondering, like, I thought you were supposed to be doing like a project TBR where you don't buy books and you read the books that you already have. And while that is true, and I technically am on a very strict book buying ban, all of these books I'm going to talk about today are from last year. I bought them in the month of December, and then obviously my book of the month I just can't skip because I love it too much. There is 2 books in this pile that I bought for a reading vlog that I'm doing, which is going to be a booktuber's favorite. And they were the only 2 books I didn't own or couldn't get through my library. I decided to purchase them because I think they're gonna be 5-star favorites, so I don't feel that bad about it. There's only 2 books that I bought so far in 2024. The rest were bought last year, or they are my book of the month. So without further ado, let's just get right into this book haul. The first book I have is Rouge by Mona Awad. This is the author who wrote Bunny. I have yet to read Bunny. I own it. This just sounds like something I would totally love. So when the Barnes & Noble had their day after Christmas sale, I bought this. Rouge is a horror-tinged gothic fairy tale about a lonely dress shop clerk. Rouge is a horror-tinged gothic fairy tale about a lonely dress shop clerk whose mother's unexpected death sent her down a treacherous path in pursuit of youth and beauty. Can she escape her mother's fate and find a connection that is more than skin deep? So I think this is basically like a cult book, and it talks about like the beauty standards and whatnot. And coming from me, I used to work at Ulta for 3 years, and it's pretty toxic. Like the beauty industry as a whole can be pretty toxic. So when I saw this and I could get it for 33% off, technically 43% off with my Barnes & Noble membership, I was like, you know what, screw it. I'm gonna do it and I'm gonna take the plunge and I am going to get it. So this was the first book I picked up. Next, in that same Barnes & Noble trip the day after Christmas, I picked up Pomegranate by Helen Elaine Lee. This is a book that I had seen a couple times in Barnes & Noble, and the cover intrigued me, and the first time I read the synopsis I was like, all right, that could be fun. And then the second time I saw it, when I was in Barnes & Noble the day after Christmas, when it was on sale, I was like, all right, somehow this book, I found this book again in an aisle, and clearly that's fate telling me that I should read it, and it's on sale, so why not? Renita Atwater is wrapping up her 4-year sentence for opioid possession at Oak Hills Correctional Center near Boston. With 3 years of sobriety, she is determined to stay clean and regain custody of her 2 children from her aunts who have been raising them. She is gaining her freedom, but she is leaving behind the group of women who have helped her to get her through, and she is losing her lover Maxine, who has inspired her to imagine herself in the world differently. But that just sounds like a heartbreaking story, but also like just a good story overall, I guess. I don't know, but this cover got me, and then I read that and I was like, I don't think I've ever really read anything like this, so I decided to pick it up. The next book I have is actually from the little library at the nursing home my grandmother's in. I love the library there. They have so many good books for I don't even know what reason, but I picked up The Last Thing He Told Me by Laura Dave. I don't even know what this is about, but everybody talks about this book. Before Owen Michaels disappears, he manages to smuggle a note to his beloved wife of 1 year. Protect her. It's a riveting mystery certain to shock you with its final heartbreaking turn. So obviously somebody disappears and left some sort of note, and I'm sure the main character tries to figure out what the hell he meant and what it meant and whatnot. But I've heard a lot of people love this, and it's on a lot of people's favorites list, so when I saw it at the library at my grandma's nursing home, I was like, sure, I'll try it, and then I'll bring it back if I don't like it. So works out perfectly. The next book I have is a pre-order, and that is Ruthless Vows by Rebecca Ross. I don't know what this is about, so don't ask me. This is the second book to Divine Rivals, which Divine Rivals is on my TBR for January, and I'm determined to friggin' read it. I feel like it's been on my TBR for like 3 months at this point, so once I read Divine Rivals, I've heard that you want to jump immediately into book 2, so I am so excited to have picked this up. I'm not even gonna read the description because I don't want to like spoil anything for myself. I don't know if I will or not, but we're just gonna put that down. The next 3 books I have are from when me, my mom, my sister, and brother-in-law went to Manhattan the week between Christmas and New Year's. The sale was still going on at Barnes & Noble, so I also got these all for 43% off. And the first book I picked up is the Reformatory by, I'm not even gonna try to pronounce that. I saw this cover and I was like, all right, that looks spooky. And then I read the description and it sounded amazing, so I picked it up. But now I'm seeing it on like Bookstagram and YouTube, and everybody's saying they loved it, so I'm excited. 12-year-old Robbie Stevens Jr. is sentenced to 6 months at the Gracetown School for Boys for kicking the son of the largest landowner in town in defense of his older sister. So begins Robbie's journey further into the terrors of the Jim Crow South and the very real horror of the school they call the reformatory. So I think the reformatory is a school for boys, obviously, and once this kid goes to this school, some weird things start happening, and there may be ghosts and things go missing and whatnot. So that just sounded really good. The cover got me, and then I read the synopsis and I was like, yes, sign me up. That sounds amazing. The next book I also almost picked up multiple times, and I've seen it all over BookTok, BookTube, Bookstagram, and that is Powerless by Lauren Roberts. I think this is a romantasy, but it's not like a spicy romantasy. It's more of like tension. And I literally have almost picked this up so many times because I have heard nothing but amazing things. When I was in the city, when I was checking out, the cashier was like, oh my God, you're gonna love it. And she asked me, she was like, when it comes to like romantasy, do you like more smut or do you like more like tension? And I was like, I mean, I could really do either. I prefer some smut. And she was like, well, this is a lot of tension, but let me tell you, it is so good. So I decided to pick this up. Honestly, I have no idea what this is about. Only the extraordinary belong in the kingdom of Ilia, the exceptional, the elites. The elites have possessed powers for decades, gifted to them by the plague, while those born ordinary are just that, banished from the kingdom of Ilia and shunned from society. No one knows this better than Hayden Gray. I have no idea if I'm pronouncing that right. An ordinary posing as a psychic to blend in with the elites. But when she unwittingly saves one of Ilia's princes, Kai Azar, she's thrown into the purging trials, a brutal competition showcasing the elite's power. If the trials and the opponents within them don't kill her, the prince she's fighting feelings for will if he discovers what Hayden is. Completely ordinary. That sounds so good. I can't wait to read this and see what the hype is all about. The next book I got is Before the Coffee Gets Cold. I'm not even gonna try to pronounce this name either. It's just not gonna happen. This is basically just like a cozy little story about this cafe in Tokyo where you go there and you have a certain amount of time to kind of go back and rewrite your story, and I've heard it's really cute, cozy. I did start the audiobook for this, but like just wasn't in the headspace for it. So I did return the audiobook, but this is such a short book that I could read this pretty quickly. And I have some plans to do 48-hour reading challenges coming up, so this will probably be featured on a TBR. The next two books that I have purchased from Barnes & Noble are for specific reading vlogs. As I said, I am slowly but surely working on a reading booktuber's favorite. These two books were Books and Lala's favorites for 2023. Her name is Kayla. And the first book is Natural Beauty by Ling Ling Huang. A piercing, darkly funny debut. It explores the questions of consumerism, self-worth, race, and identity, and leaves readers with a shocking and unsettling truth. This is also a relatively short book, so I feel like I can read this pretty quickly, but Kayla like raved about this and said that it wasn't necessarily like plot driven, but it's very just like deep and dark about the thoughts that this character goes through and the narrator goes through, and it's just messed up in that way. And honestly, I'm down for that. So that is one book I have purchased. And then the last book I purchased for the Reading Booktuber's Favorites that was also highly recommended by Books and Lala is Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies by Heather Hossett. This is the Barnes & Noble exclusive edition, which I love this edition. It is so cute. I actually prefer this edition over the original edition, and it's got beveled edges. Kayla said that she loved this, and it's basically just a cozy fantasy. A professor journeys to a small town in the far north to study fairy folklore and discovers dark fae magic, friendship, and love. I guess it's a cozy fantasy where she basically just writes an encyclopedia about fairies and probably falls in love. Those are all the books that I bought at Barnes & Noble. So I have my Book of the Month box, but I don't have anything to open it with. Let's open my Book of the Month box. I have been subscribed to Book of the Month for quite some time now. I'm going on like 3 years, I think. And honestly, I still love them. I know a lot of people were like complaining about their choices and not really liking them, but I personally still love Book of the Month. They are not sponsoring this video, but if they want to, hit your girl up. My email is down below. You can actually get your first book from Book of the Month using my link below, and you will get your first book for only $5, which is a fantastic price considering you're getting a brand new hardcover. You don't find a hardcover for $5 anywhere but Book of the Month. So use the link in my description box to get your Book of the Month subscription started. So in my little box, I have my, ooh, this is a different one. My bookmark, it says this book hits the plot. So how cute. And then it's blue on the back, which usually they're white on the back. All right, let's talk about the 3 books I purchased from Book of the Month. The first one is an actual monthly pick. The other 2 were just add-ons. And the book I picked for the month of January is Interesting Facts About Space by Emily Austin. This is like totally out of my realm of what I normally read. And when I saw the description, I was like, that sounds so adorable and so cute and cozy, heartwarming, heartbreaking, everything in between. And I was like, let me just try it. So this is a fast-paced, hilarious, and ultimately hopeful novel for anyone who has ever worried they might be a terrible person. Enid is obsessed with space. She can tell you all about black holes and their ability to spaghettify you without batting an eye in fear. Her one major phobia, bald men. But she tries to keep that one under wraps. When she's not listening to her favorite true crime podcast on a loop, she's going out with a rotation of women from dating apps. At the same time, she's trying to forge a new relationship with her estranged half-sisters after the death of her absent father. When she unwittingly plunges into her first romantic entanglement, Enid starts to believe that someone is following her. As her paranoia spirals out of control, she must contend with her mounting suspicion that something is seriously wrong with her. Because at the end of the day, there's only one problem she can't outrun: herself. It is brimming with quirky humor, charm, and heart. Interesting facts about space effortlessly shows us the power of revealing our secret shames, the most beautifully human parts of us all. That just sounds so like adorable. And honestly, I love this cover. Like that's just so cute. So that is the first book I got from Book of the Month this month. The next book I got is a new release from a beloved author of mine, and that is Only If You're Lucky by Stacey Willingham. This is her newest release. I'm pretty sure this book doesn't come out for another week. So this book doesn't come out until January 16th, and I love that I was able to get it early and in a hardcover copy for only $10, because that's how much add-ons are on Book of the Month. This is a sharp and twisty exploration of female friendship. Lucy Sharp is larger than life, magnetic and addictive, bold and dangerous. Especially for Margot, who meets Lucy at the end of their freshman year at a liberal arts college in South Carolina. Margot is the shy one, the careful one, always the sidekick and never the center of attention. But when Lucy singles her out at the end of the year Margot spent studying and playing it safe, and asked her mom to room together, something in Margot can't say no. Something daring or starved or maybe even envious. So I think this is about two girls. They become roommates. I'm pretty sure Lucy, like the popular girl, goes missing, and then it's just a thriller from there. I read All the Dangerous Things by this author and loved that book. Like, that was a fantastic book. I read it last year, I think in January too, actually. That's a little weird. So when I saw that this was an add-on, I was like immediately, yes, I need that book and I need to read it ASAP because the release date is soon. Okay, the last add-on I have was a book that I was like so skeptical about. I have almost bought this book so many times, and pretty much every time I see it at Barnes & Noble, because I've heard nothing but amazing things. I just don't know if it's gonna be my thing and if I'm gonna enjoy it, but we're gonna try. And that is Shark Heart by Emily Havoc. This is a story about a couple that gets married, and within a year of getting married, the husband is weirdly diagnosed with this disease that basically turns him into a shark. And I guess it deals with a lot of grief, a novel of marriage, motherhood, metamorphosis, and letting go. This intergenerational love story begins with newlyweds Ren and her husband Lewis, a man who over the course of 9 months transforms into a great white shark. I've heard a lot of people say that this like completely ripped their heart out and was such a good read. So when I saw that it was an add-on, I mean, this was a monthly pick at some point last year for Book of the Month, and I was like, you know what, screw it. I'm just gonna do it. I'm gonna put it as an add-on. So those are the 3 books that I got from Book of the Month this month. All right, everybody, that is the conclusion of this book haul. Not too big of a book haul, but definitely enough to have its own video. But if you enjoyed this video, make sure to let me know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a like, subscribe to my channel, and hit that notification bell so you're notified every time I upload, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.